Hello and welcome once again to the FwdCompatible podcast. This is episode 77, part 1, for July 28th, 2013. My name's Tony and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcasters, Brian, Mark, and Jason. I went out of order this time.
Yeah.
And, I lost my train of thought.
It's
This is why you don't try anything new. Never, ever, ever. There's a reason you're not doing it.
I learned a life lesson today.
Don't deviate from what you're used to.
It's one standard deviation. Anyway, how's everybody's week been?
I worked like a madman.
Like a madman?
Like a madman. 13 hours yesterday.
Fuck that noise.
So is that the term hard-earned dollar? Does that apply now, Tony?
No, because you sit around not...
Well, no, here's the thing. I had to walk around the school and sit and, I had to set up every computer. But since it doesn't take a lot of brain power, just a lot of hand movement and stuff, I set up the iPad and I was watching Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
While I was doing that.
So I didn't know if you wanted to say it. I was like, I was talking to Brian. He was fucking watching Netflix at work.
Yeah, no, because otherwise I would have had to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I was on my own by myself the whole time there. So I was like, whatever, I'm watching a show or something.
Sounds about how it went for me Monday and Tuesday trying to get the videos up. It's like, got an hour and a half to kill until it's compressed. Let me go watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
Set a timer on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible.
That's video compression, man. It's always going to be slow.
I don't think I had that much of a frustrating week.
Really relaxing.
Not exactly, but not. I wasn't killing anybody or.
Mark's tired today. He just shows up, takes a dump. Just
It's like, hey, Jason, where's the can?
So say like it's a bad thing.
Oh, shit.
You have natural human processes.
That's funny.
Weird.
As for myself, not a super exciting week. A lot of work, a lot of... not much
Get all
else.
the bananas for yourself.
It's actually quite boring. Not a whole hell of a lot happened. Why on my drink, though? Yeah. All
I
right.
just read I have to find out. I have a Reservoir Dogs gummy thing. That's pretty cool. Sorry, go ahead. I'm being a...
All right, well, I suppose we kick off the show with our weekly roundtable and catch everybody up on what we've been playing. This is the last time we all
I
spoke.
like to bite the heads off of them. If you
I
remember.
know.
gummy
You
bears.
did that one time with...
Moss.
Like
was
9 of
that
them.
with gummy bears? You had
Yeah.
an entire array.
Yeah, I bring gummy bears a lot.
Now we have videos so people could see. You made a design out of all the decapitated gummy bears. They were arranged so in a floral design. I think even alternated colors.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a waste of gummy bears. Anyway.
Weekly roundtable. Who
Yeah.
wants to-
I
Are
will
we
start-
switching up the order?
No, never.
No.
No, look what happened when you
Well, I don't
standard
know if we-
deviation. Right before I came here, I was playing a little bit of XCOM since that was free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, it was.
I decided to shoot things this week, so I played Battlefield 3 because that was also free. And then I did Ratchet & Clank 3.
How you liking Ratchet & Clank 3?
It is my favorite of the series so far.
Told you.
There's this... he's trying to throw stuff out. That was awful.
He's white. He's not
yeah.
good at basketball
Yeah.
stuff.
Fuck you.
I like the overall story, and then you're invading a planet in the first mission or two. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal is probably my top 10 favorite games of all time. I love that.
Pretty good
one.
so far, yeah.
Yeah. It only gets better.
And they make it easy to get the weapons this time, so far at least. That was my problem with the first two.
Plus, the upgrade tree is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, there's 2 of each weapon at least, and some of them have more.
No, there's more. It's a decent amount of upgrades. Some have 5, 6, 8.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Some of them have a bunch more.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, digging it.
Ryan, what'd you play?
I have played absolutely nothing this week. I have had no time.
He's working 13-hour days,
13
generally.
hour days this week.
I didn't really get a chance to play anything other than a little bit of Injustice iOS because the PS3 didn't finish re-downloading and installing and all that other crap that we were started last Sunday until Wednesday.
Damn. Was it on the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The whole time. And then I got to fight with our video and audio not syncing and all this and that and
So you had all of your electronics tied up doing something for
Yeah.
half the week.
My electric bill is pretty high. I just got it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was hot, like, the week before.
Yeah,
so-
you had the ACs
yeah.
blasting 24 hours a day.
Yeah, well, the computer was on for like 9 hours straight, and the Xbox was on for like, the PS3 was on for like 4 days straight. So, and then shit's downloading and compressing. I had to have something to do. So,
Yeah.
Pornhub on the iPad.
Naturally. I mean, that's a given, dude. It goes without saying.
But yeah, Injustice.
Just have a base charge for that every month. $10 a month just for Pornhub.
I do promise that I will finally get to Last of Us this week. Now that I kind of know how things work.
There you
Rock
go.
on. As for myself, I was also super swamped. I only played one game. I'm doing the whole cleanup business, and I'm on God of War Ascension. I've moved on to that. I didn't get much further in the game, but that's my next game that I'm tackling. And I played one other game that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about yet. But you guys will find out about that in...
Oh, I mean, you don't got to say what it is, but we could tell everybody what you're doing. At least, tease that a little bit.
Yeah, okay. I'm actually doing my first ever review.
Yay!
I'm assuming he's putting it up on Gen Game, right? I'm doing it for Moss. It's a game that's not out yet. This is my first time ever doing it. It's really fucking cool feeling playing something that's not available on the shelves yet. Aside from that, yeah, it's not super far away from me being able to talk about it. It's like a month away, so it's not like you guys have to wait forever. But, that'll be coming out, and I'm actually bringing these guys in because I think going along with the text portion that I'm going to be writing, I want to do some kind of video review type thing.
Because the motto here at FwdCompatible is if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Oh, yeah, of course. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do yet, but we'll have something cool.
We can even do an audio for it. Audio commentary track for when people can play the game.
And just listen to me.
This is just awful.
Why did they do that? Look at this part you're coming up to. Stupid, right? Yeah, but, we'll have more on that soon. It might not even... I don't even know if I'm under anything, but I don't want to chance it.
Did you sign anything?
Well, no, but I don't know if they did,
That's the
and
same
then they
thing, yeah.
they handed it off to me, and I don't want to get them in trouble. It's
Yeah.
just, it's safer to just not fucking bother with it yet.
Yeah.
So, but we'll have more on that soon.
Yeah.
Are you going to mention somebody's...
Oh.
That guy?
So we had an in-house
Oh.
day.
I'm like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
We had an in-house day of birth.
Yeah.
Sounds awful. That
Jason gave birth yesterday.
Yes.
That's why I'm fat.
6 months pregnant. No. Jason turned 29?
40.
29.
40.
29 this week.
Fuck you, Mark.
40.
You know what? I think it's time for a line change.
Going on.
It'll still say the same names. Just
That's
saying.
why we're doing this.
Or I'll be a dick and I will make it work and I'll flip them. Either way.
I'm just saying we might be doing this 4 or 5 times throughout the course
That's
of the show.
what you said 5 for earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Fucker.
you caught me.
Should we explain why we're doing this?
Oh,
For someone who
so
missed
Jason, so Jason added that cool little thing. It should be right over here. That says our names, and we just wanted to add extra editing work.
Now I'm not going to bother putting it in on part 1.
Well, then our names are gonna be wrong. So I'll be Mark. Here you go. I suppose you're gonna need this for now.
Taking my gummy bears. He line changed.
I love
followed.
because I didn't tell him what I was gonna say, but I knew I could go hockey and he'd get it.
It worked pretty well too.
Oh shit! All right, what were we doing?
Talking about me being 40.
Oh, and me and Mark, our hearts were in a good place. On the way over here, we were trying to do something nice for you, and we had another. Well, it's not a lengthy story like the Burger King one was.
No, that was a good story.
We had more problems. We were
bad luck.
so we're on our way over here, and we're picking up all the essential items for podcasting, gummy bears and coffee and whatnot. And we're like, oh, let's get Jason something, right, for his birthday. So we line change. We so we decided to get you a 1600 point Microsoft card.
Okay.
And of course, 7-Eleven's thing is down. So we bring it up to pay, and the guy's like, these aren't working. We're
Okay.
like, what? Not working. There's Jason's birthday present.
Yeah.
So I
Still
decided
in
to just
store.
give you the pack of smokes.
Okay.
So
Say, You guys do forget that there is a major video game retailer.
Yeah, we were
on the
talking
corner.
we were talking about doing that too,
Yeah.
but at that point it was like 2:30 already. We were running way late, so
Well, I appreciate the sentiment.
We're still running
we
way
did
early.
we did try.
Yeah.
It was a valiant effort.
Are we jumping into news or are we doing the challenge? How you want to do that? We didn't discuss that.
Oh, I'm ill prepared.
Are you kidding me?
I'm halfway done. I ran out of time. One more week.
This fucking guy.
One more week. Unless you want to do a 4-question quiz.
If you want to lose,
Nah, he wants to win.
No, I'm supposed to
You're
come up
losing
with
money
10
over this.
Dirty, sexy, news.
News! Alright, so PlayStation came out this week, and we're talking about the temperature the PlayStation 4 is going to run at. They said it's supposed to range between 5 to 35 degrees Celsius. I didn't bother doing the conversion.
What is that in real temperatures?
I didn't do it. I was like, well, I figured everyone would be confused and be
What
confused
is it?
together.
What was the temperature?
5 degrees Celsius.
5?
To 35. The PlayStation 3 currently runs between 45 and 55, with 60 being the overheat that leads to the yellow rain of
That's
death.
about 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
Which one? 35?
35.
35. So there you go. Under 100 degrees they're aiming for.
That's what it runs, or that's the ambient temperature of the room that it will run in?
no, that's what it
That's
runs.
what it runs.
That's not bad.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is. You should see the stuff that I've seen stuff that runs a lot hotter than that.
Yeah, I mean, PS3, that would make it at least 110 at the
Yeah.
lowest or so. It's crazy. So anyway, they're doing this to avoid the yellow light of death, so they don't want to have any problems with that this generation. So good for them.
Yeah, go PlayStation.
PlayStation. Vivendi is looking to pull out most of its shares from Activision
Pull
Blizzard. Yes, they're going to pull out. They're going to keep 12% minority of the company, and they're using all the money to pay off some of its debt.
Yeah, Vivendi's losing a lot of money nowadays.
They're fucked.
But
How are they losing money? What else?
Activision's because
Because they only have Activision and Blizzard. Everybody else is losing money with them, right?
Yeah, they own a fuck ton of stuff. But Activision's trying to buy the majority stock back in their own company. They're trying to be the majority stockholder in this, so good for them, I suppose. I mean,
Yeah.
no,
No.
don't care.
Don't care.
No, because it's fucking Activision.
But Blizzard did as well.
Yeah, and they partnered up with NCSoft to make a new MMO company, so fuck them.
He mad.
And WoW's down to 7.7 million.
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
about
is that all?
That's it.
From
It's
12?
still,
So it's only like
it's still more than all the MMOs combined almost.
The most.
Yes.
Jason holds a grudge, huh?
He does. NCSoft.
That's how he copes. That's his vice. He just bites the heads off gummy bears. That's how he doesn't murder anyone.
See, but if you're really being an ass about it, you'd bite the heads off and then put them back in the bag.
Ew.
All right, moving on. The Xbox One confirmed this week that its DVR will record 5 minutes of gameplay. This is after the rumor that the PlayStation 4 will be doing anywhere between 7 to 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So, anyone have anything to say about the DVR recordings? I think 5 minutes is too short, in my opinion.
Probably, but what I think they mean, and they didn't explain this well, is both the PlayStation and Xbox, they are going to be recording without you telling it to.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be the previous 5 minutes. So if you do something cool, you could be like, oh, same thing with PlayStation, last 15 minutes. Like, sweet, good thing that's on camera. I'm hoping, or at least hoping that there's some way where you know what you're doing on both systems, that you want this to be recorded, and there's an option to have it record for longer than that when you direct it to. This is just that they're constantly recording and
Kind of like with your DVR, when you're watching TV,
You can rewind
You can rewind
X
X
amount
amount of time.
Let's hope
If
that's
that's what it
then.
is, that's cool.
Yeah.
If it's not that, if that's your maximum time limit, that kind of sucks.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Jason again, and unfortunately, right after this is where the static kicks in. So now we're going to go ahead and transition right into part 2 of this week's show, which normally isn't available until Wednesday, but we're going to go ahead and bring it to you now. So continue listening, watching, and enjoy the show. Thanks.
Hello and welcome once again to the FwdCompatible podcast. This is episode 77, part 2, for July 28th, 2013. My name's Tony, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcasters Brian, Mark, and Jason.
What up?
This is just weird.
Nobody else wants to say howdy?
That's how you did it on part 1, so it should have been Jason, Mark, and Brian.
My name's Tony, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcasters Brian, Mark, and... or fucking Jason.
He pointed to the wrong side.
Fucking horse. You know what? Screw it. My name's Tony, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcasters Mark. All right, we'll go Jason, Brian. Because you got it twice.
That's fine. Yeah, no problem. I think you should just give everybody a random name every time.
This is Christoph,
Joined by
Rodrigo,
Wolverine.
and George.
Yo!
And he is Escobar.
I'm Escobar.
Also, go see the new Wolverine. It's really, really good.
Is it?
No.
Yeah, I actually really like it.
Schnicky schnicky.
Schnicky, schnicky, schnack.
9 out of 10.
Nice.
Bang.
What did you think of X-Men 3?
He loved it. Like a
Low
fat
point.
kid loved cake.
Wolverine Origins?
The video game was better.
No,
than the movie.
wait.
That's what I've heard.
I was talking. Well, no, I didn't actually see
Which
that
is
one.
sad.
I was
Okay.
thinking of
backtracking
First
now.
Class.
Okay.
Ugh.
You
that
like
one.
First Class? I like First Class.
I like First Class. It wasn't.
It was okay. It was
Yeah,
garbage.
but I didn't see
It
the
was-
other
It was already on
Wolverine one.
Netflix or HBO Go. That's what it was on.
Okay.
Yeah, this of course is part 2. In the event you have yet to do so, please click out or pause the video. Check out part 1 where we discuss news and, of course, answer the week's burning questions
Also,
from our
Tony,
faithful viewers.
2024.
Oh,
2024.
for president. Yeah.
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 Dun, 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 dun.
That's all in part 1. But this, of course, is part 2 where we discuss boo-doo, 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 Tony's topic of the week.
See, now here's the hard part.
Play that hip jive.
Is part 1 video from last week had those cool little segue graphics.
Yes.
Line change.
Star Wipes.
I
Line
don't-
change.
I don't know exactly how to do it with yours since we don't have a separate audio file.
I don't think you should. It's the OG of the segment songs.
It was decided as.
No.
I think
but
it should we left it up to the viewers, didn't we? They said just let Tony freeball.
No. I'm fine with it, but I don't know how to get a graphic to come up and keep the audio running. That's what I have to learn. So visualize this, right?
Do you want to just take a picture of me going like this?
as you start to free
And then-
to free ball.
And then, as it does this, the lyrics pop over my face and it goes doo 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 doo. Tony's topic.
That's
of
what I
the
wanted to
week.
do. I wanted
and then
to,
it
like-
cuts back to us.
That's what I was trying to do, but the way that I put those sections in is I actually cut input and then
I
start again.
I think I'm gonna wear a suit for that because I want to look really creepy, just like this. In a suit though,
Did you be able to get like a fake mustache in there too?
maybe
Yeah.
we can do that, or I could just grow one.
Giant soul patch. Landing
So-
strip.
And get some glasses and dress like Phil Fish.
Not douchey enough to pull off that look.
We'll get a 360 case with an insert of Fez on it, just broken in half, and like you crying.
So you're not a toss spot. You wanker.
Fuck. What are we doing?
Tony's topic of the week.
We're podcasting. That's right.
That's what we are. We are adjacent.
Tony's
again.
topic of the week. This week, we're going to be discussing a half rumor, half truth that have come out on 2 different subjects. A shared moment. Of course, we all know that the X-Bone is 3.
That's what I've read. Is it uses
Well,
3.
Trace
Okay.
for all the Mexican listeners.
The upcoming councils.
Mexican?
That's the only. I looked at the analytics. We get a few Mexican
It's
people.
Spanish speaking. It's not Mexican.
Well,
What language are you speaking right now?
England.
Actually, in the state of Illinois, we speak American.
No, we don't.
It's in the law book.
I don't give a fuck what
Just
the law
telling you.
says.
Is it really?
Yes,
Speak
I have
English.
one of those weird like Illinois law things. It's also it's illegal to take a poodle into a opera.
Damn
and when
it.
you drive an automobile
You gotta get a
within
poodle.
city limits, you must notify the police that you are entering the city with a motorized vehicle.
Oh, I always do that.
That's a law.
And they are technically still in effect. They're forgotten laws, but they're still in effect.
I'm gonna pull you over every time on your scooter.
Yeah.
I have to be a
So
cop
we
first.
speak American.
We do not.
American.
Speak English.
So even like mopeds and like those motorized bicycles, you're technically
I
supposed
said motorized vehicle when entering city limits.
See, because when I'm coming in the car, I do call them. Just let them know. They like to know.
Oh, so you're driving right now. Oh, where's your location at?
No, I've got Bluetooth. Don't worry about that. But I guess when I'm riding in my Razor scooter that I ride so much
Bing, 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 bing,
I'm
bing,
gonna
bing,
make it
bing,
work.
bing,
And
bing,
my
bing,
Segway.
bing, bing, bing.
that I don't own, I
Yeah.
should let them know as well.
$10,000 two-wheeler.
Yeah, I don't actually have one.
Oh, I didn't think.
But Job's driving one made me kind of want one.
Yeah.
Talking about Arrested Development, for those who are not listening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
sorry.
the final countdown.
Seen the commercial too many times. Advertising for that was ridiculous.
Okay, so both the councils that are upcoming
Jason's like, I'm out of here. I'm done.
apparently are both being made with 8 gigabytes of RAM.
That is ocho for our Mexican audience.
Also
Are you-
8 for our parent American-speaking audience.
Are you
Yes,
just gonna
yes.
like anything more than like 10? Are you just gonna translate?
Sure.
How high can you go?
I probably can count to 100.
Okay.
86.
The ocho siete. All right. I'm a little out of practice. Seis. Yeah. I'm a little out of practice,
That's
but
7.
yeah.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Filthy whore.
Story checks out. Sorry. The memory
Terrible
thing.
start. Did we
Yeah.
just restart?
Okay, so you got some RAMs in these systems.
There are some random.
Like I said, the number.
Microsoft has come out. They received some backlash, of course, because that's all people do on the internet nowadays is bitch about video games and share pornography with one another.
That is the Pornhub for our Mexican audience.
El porno hubbo. So three gigs out of the 8 on the Xbox One is being dedicated to the operating system. I'm assuming everybody knows what the operating system is, but basically, in the event you do not, that's kind of what's running everything. That's what you're looking at. That's all the Brian,
It's all the
technical
back end stuff. Yeah, it's all the
Technical
stuff in the
stuff?
back end. It's the stuff that's running in the background. That's it's helping the controller interface. It's helping the sound. There's it's basically it's everything that's running the stuff that you don't see and interfacing with the stuff that you do see and work with. It's the nuts and bolts of something.
Yeah.
What about nuts?
Yeah, put them
They
in your
have
mouth.
bolts.
And then
Balls?
after that released, a lot of the PlayStation fans came back and kind of started making fun of it because it's utilizing almost half of its power. Of course, to run the operating system. And if you look back at the PS3 and the 360, which have a 16th of the power of the upcoming consoles, those operating systems are pretty well equipped. Mm-hmm. And they utilize far, far less. I don't have the stats on me because why would I prepare? But they're virtually, what, do you know them off the top of your head?
No.
They're very, very small portions of the 360 and PS3. So, and Brian's probably looking it up?
I'm gonna look it up just to
Okay.
see if I can find it. Yeah.
And then, so the PlayStation fan base was tearing the Xbox One fans a new one. Then we had a new rumor this upcoming week that indicated that the PlayStation 4, out of its 8 gigabytes of available memory, is going to be utilizing a mandatory 3.5 gigs
And it's faster RAM.
with a floating 1 gig. Now, there's only a couple articles on this so far. This is relatively new. And I'm not sure if the floating gig is an additional gig for the operating system to utilize, cutting it from 3.5 or maximizing it from 3.5 to 4.5 when it needs the extra power, or if that gig comes off of the operating system as an optional gig to run the memory. So it can actually, when you're not using as much from the operating system, it can actually down itself to 2.5, giving you, 5.5.
The one article I read on this said that extra like floating RAM is at first it sounds like only like probably first party, direct links to Sony are going to be able to use it properly. So it could be something really complicated right now, at least.
I'm sure they'll unlock the secrets to it as time goes on, though. As consoles.
I'm sure most of the developers working on games already know how to use it. It just they're not allowed to talk about it currently until Sony tells them or something.
Let's kick the show off with some initial thoughts.
I got those numbers if you want those real quick.
Oh, yes, please do.
According to the interwebs, the PS3 operating system uses 96 megs of RAM.
Out of what? 512?
Out of 256. Because the way the PS3 works is it's got 512, but 256 is reserved for video. And the other 256 is for whatever the system is using for other stuff. The Xbox 360 uses 32 megs of RAM, and it can use the full 512 however it wants. And I know there were a lot of complaints that the PS3 used too much RAM, the OS, because it uses like...
Half?
Yeah, that's almost half of the available memory.
Which is what it almost sounds like they're doing again.
Again, yeah. And the Xbox 360 used a lot less. So, there you have it.
I still really think that much RAM usage right now is kind of ridiculous when you look at what PCs use for theirs.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you can run a PC on 1 or 2 gigs of RAM, and it's almost 2 gigs is low, but you can use it. You want 4 gigs for speed, but that's when you're doing the operating system with a web browser and videos running.
There's so much more to do.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Just looking at the Sony operating system, there's not a lot going on there. Doesn't really looks like it needs that much. It just, I don't know.
It's got a lot of hidden abilities that nobody ever utilizes that I'm sure take up some RAM that, just off the top of my head, stupid things like PlayStation Home or
that thing just needs to go away first.
Printer abilities, and there's just the PS3 does a lot of shit.
Didn't need to do.
That doesn't need to do.
Doesn't need to do.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll have you know,
a lot
Mark,
of shit.
I like bowling on PlayStation Home.
But it doesn't need to run at all times.
Pool's kind of fun too.
I've just been there. It just doesn't appeal to me after one or two times.
There's this really cool pirate ship game on...
I used to go there and watch the Sony TV show. That was it.
On PlayStation Home, there's a cool pirate show game where you kind of get thrown on a boat with randoms, and I think it's like 4 per boat, but there's like 12 or 15 cannons that you could utilize, and there's not much to the game. You just get thrown on a boat, and they just become your team for the next minute or two, and you just shoot at the other 7 or 8 old galleons, the pirate ships. It's really simple. I think it's triangle to grab onto a cannon and enter first-person mode, and triangle to back out, and it jumps into third person, and you walk around to a different cannon depending on if they're on the port or starboard side of the boat, and you just shoot at the different pirate ships and try to take them down. And once your boat explodes, you respawn on a different ship. It's really stupid and meaningless, but it's entertaining for 5 or 10 minutes. It really is. So
I'll have to go back on there. There wasn't anything when
that's
I used to be on a long
that's
time ago.
Only good game on PlayStation Home I've ever played.
Because I had when I originally had my PS3, I think it was 2010 into 11, and there wasn't really anything on it. So
it's like a cool concept, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's like that little thing where any indie developer could just throw on a game that people could play, and it's kind of like a little area for you to walk. It just wasn't implemented correctly.
It's because someone saw Second Life.
And most of the games are
not Second Life.
Yeah.
People making year salaries off that game somehow, still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, indeed.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Quite. Quaint.
As for me, I just... it's unfortunate, but I'm of two minds of this, because even the remaining 5 or 6 gigs is probably more than any of these developers are going to need for the next 5 or 6 years. It'll only become an issue late into the console's life cycle. Most games don't even use that much right now. They'll be able to run at really high specs. They'll still look really pretty. But on the other side of the fence, or still back on this side, it's also 15 times more power than we're dealing with now in our current gen consoles. So you got a lot of juice coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of the fence, RAM's not really expensive. I would have rather paid the extra $20 on my console to make it 10 gigs of RAM so I can utilize the 8 that was... Like, when these consoles were first announced, they said 8 gigs of RAM. Mm-hmm. I assumed that was 8 gigs for use on games. Mm-hmm. Not that they were going to chop into that for all the peripherals and all that other crap. It's like, you could have easily jumped it up to 10 or 11 for not much more money and used your additional 2 or 3, be like, yeah, it's come with 11, but that's, we wanted to give you guys 8. Mm-hmm. So we have to use 3 of it for the operating system. So I kind of... a little upset they didn't go about it that way, or don't say anything about it initially, and now just claim that after the operating system you have 5 or 6 gigs of memory available to you, instead of promising everybody 8 and not delivering.
I think it's weird that they want to use so much. The Xbox RAM is not expensive, but the PS3 RAM is a little more expensive, so I can see why
it's
they would
newer.
It's a newer, faster memory. But it's still surprising me that they need more than a gig. I mean, I can see him using a gig just because it's a nice
I would say
round
2.
number.
2 and above, I think, is a little bit too much.
Well, I think even 2 might be too much. I mean, I guess if you're doing the video recording...
that's what I mean. Like, they have a bunch of stuff in there.
They need more RAM for that. But 3 just seems like a lot. And more than 3 seems like overkill.
See, I understood it for the Xbox. I almost really did, because the Xbox is doing
3 different things.
so much that I don't care about, but you can understand why it's there. You have constant connection that's just always listening for your voice commands. That's going to take up some fucking memory.
Yeah, that's true.
You have the ability to... You're pretty much constantly streaming television, even if it's very minuscule. It's coming to your Xbox, because in that instant, it has to be able to switch from TV to whatever.
Yeah.
You, of course, have... I guess, like... that, like, fantasy stuff, the connection to Internet Explorer, it's doing a lot. It is. The PS4 isn't doing half the crap that the Xbox One is.
That's
so
true.
I guess I don't see why it needs so much memory.
Yeah. Was this a confirmed report? Or
No,
was
it's
this,
this
what I thought.
Xbox is confirmed.
Yeah, Xbox I know it was
The
confirmed.
PlayStation's is a rumor at the moment.
I mean, just knowing that Sony seems to use more than they need in general makes it a little believable, but it's kind of surprising.
It's also surprising because of how much RAM was dedicated to PS3 and how slow that thing runs.
Oh, yeah. It's
Xbox with less runs faster, and even the Xbox is pretty bad at sometimes, too.
Yeah. I mean, you have to figure it's probably keeping your entire friends list in memory at all times. And they did expand the friends list, so that's expanded. It's going to be 10 times bigger.
Well, they still load up.
I know, but you would think it's in memory. I guess it wouldn't necessarily be in memory at all times, but...
Well, I guess if you're offline, it would have to be, though.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, like... the PlayStation does this thing where it syncs every time you try to do anything unless you tell it not to.
Yeah.
Which slows you down incredibly.
Yeah.
Whereas the 360 doesn't seem to do that, or at least it does a better job of managing it. But, in terms of services, you've got chat always running. You've got your checking for messages always running. And you probably have whatever your Blades or Blade style interface will be, or whatever that home screen interface is going to be when you press the home button.
Windows 8.
Well,
other
yeah,
than
Windows
that,
8
those
on
other two shouldn't
Xbox
take
One.
up much at all.
Yeah, and depending on how the Windows is running, they could just be allocating a flat amount. Because if it's running in like a virtual machine, then they just allocate a flat amount, and that's not going to change. It can't change. And when you're a developer, you want a set amount to know you can work with anyway. So they're going to have to reserve a specific amount, and they probably won't. They could try to reduce it, but it won't help older games that have already come out. So there's no point in reducing it in a way.
Yeah, I mean, you're also getting an up. This is in defense of both consoles, because you're getting your friends list up to 1,000.
Yeah.
So I know, but you have. I have no idea how this stuff works, but I'm assuming it's constantly caching to check for 1,000 different people signing on, signing off, sending you messages, wanting to send you group chat stuff.
Dick pics.
Well, they're
Dick
probably
pics.
doing what's called push notification or something similar to it, where when something happens, you get sent a message rather than you constantly checking, because it's easier on their servers. But there's still some kind of connection that gets maintained for that information.
And then there's also the whole like I know PS4 was looking into this, or they're implementing it. I don't know exactly how it works because obviously we haven't touched these new consoles yet. But there's that whole
You haven't.
There's that whole thing where they're trying their hand at the social media type things built into the console where you hit your home button, or with Microsoft I saw that you could like pinch and like squeeze. And I'm serious. And the screen whatever
Copyrighted by Apple.
whatever you're playing
Yeah, right.
whatever you're playing slightly minimizes to the upper left-hand corner of your screen. That's camera left would be that way. And then a bunch of shit will come like everywhere. Like on your right hand, camera right, it'll be like friends. Like I know the Vita does this right now, where when you hit the button, it'll minimize slightly, and your icon will pop up on the bottom, and you could drag it up and see. It'll tell all your friends that have been playing this game their recent accomplishments in the game, accomplishments in the game,
Or compliments.
compliment,
Saying you're playing very well. You're still on level 1, but
trophies that they unlocked if they hit a new level, and it's doing all these sorts of things. So if you're playing like Killzone 4, for instance, and I well, that wouldn't work because I was talking Xbox, but PlayStation, you minimize it, and on my friends list it'll have Mark over here. And it'll be like, oh, Mark just
watching Pornhub.
unlocked level
100 hours of Pornhub.
Yeah, unlocked 30 hours of Pornhub. No,
Could be an achievement.
Yeah, he unlocked level 30 in Killzone. And then I know Forza's doing something similar where it's like, oh, this guy beat your lap time. Do you want to go? So it's like you're constantly utilizing memory because it's searching for all of your up to literally 1,000 people's accomplishments that are on your friends list to let them know that they've beaten you or haven't beaten you. But then you also don't know if that's killing Microsoft's operating system or if that's on Turn 10's studio side on their personal servers to run their game that's sending the pings to the consoles.
So let me get this straight.
I have no idea.
You pinch, squeeze, and a bunch of shit comes out.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to
yeah,
interrupt
yeah.
him because he might have yelled at me.
I'm pretty sure
and
that's
it's
how it
my
works.
birthday, so I shouldn't be yelled at. Pinch, squeeze.
I guess you kind of have to look at as a comparison. The Wii U does the same thing, where half the system memory is reserved for the operating system.
It's just pathetic because it has 2 gigs.
Yeah, because it's only got 2 gigs, and it's doing less than the PS4 or the Xbox One. But it does have an always running web browser, and I think these two consoles have that as well. So it's reserved all that stuff as a kind of a just in case kind of thing. But I don't know. It seems like it's just too much.
No, it is. That's. I'd love to see a breakdown of where it's going and how much of it is actually in use at all times. Because I also think that this could be that they're might add something in the future that might need some. So maybe they're leaving some in reserve that might never really get used. But year down the line they launch something new, and now all of a sudden they're dipping into the extra few 100 megabytes they weren't using or whatever it ends up being.
I got a question. How does that work when stuff updates? Does it add, or do they take away the old part that they're updating and just replace it?
It depends on how they do it. If they're changing the firmware, which is like a chip that actually has programming stored on it, then they have to rewrite that chip, and then it doesn't use any extra memory because it's just rewriting that chip. If it's patching it, then you actually wind up using more memory because it has to reference the hard drive when it loads up, and sometimes it has to hold those patches in memory at all times. So it's going to vary depending on how they do their patching and how the system runs. I'm guessing that's just going to run off the hard drive. If that's the case, then if they just update the software that's on there, it wouldn't use that much more memory.
It could also you could start grazing on the area of the cloud, where some of this might come into play if it's just like smaller bits and chunks. That I think this is why the Xbox was pushing so hardly for the always online, because a lot of this stuff sounds like it would have actually benefited for a constant connection.
Yeah.
But now it's like I think they have to retract and take out features because of the lack of the online connectivity.
Well, they could just say these features are only available when you're online. They don't necessarily take the features out. It can help with certain things. Like it could help with, they could find ways to improve notifications and stuff like that by having it run through their system and just sending you the push when there's something coming up, which they're probably doing. So yeah, I mean, they can use the cloud services to reduce the hit on your Xbox One to some degree. Sony could do that too if they wanted to invest into it, but whether that's going to happen or not, who knows? I think they're pushing more into the Gaikai thing and having developers handle all their services, whereas Microsoft wants to be a one-stop shop.
I think Sony will get on board now that they're charging for PlayStation Plus and pretty much making it more or less mandatory to play.
Well, I think that their matchmaking stuff will be.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at what Microsoft is offering, I think that Microsoft has a more robust offering in general than Sony does. And I don't think Sony has the resources because they don't work in that field. I mean, the thing about the Xbox One is that Microsoft's had these server farms in the past. I'm not just talking about the Xbox. You know, they have like Outlook in the cloud, Hotmail, which became Outlook.com.
Office now.
Office in the cloud. Skype they've had
I
for
want
a
an
while
office
now.
in the cloud.
Yeah, but Sony's
So does he.
Sony's no stranger to this kind of stuff. Sony has their online music. I can't think what the hell it's
That's
called.
true. There's Crackle for the video. That's Sony, isn't
They
it?
have Crackle.
And
They
then they
have,
have-
which is their TV.
That's
the
true.
TV and movie streaming.
Music Unlimited, something.
Yeah, Music Unlimited.
That's
yeah.
true.
So I mean, I'm not trying to say there was as robust as Microsoft,
But they do have some
is,
experience with it.
But
You're right.
Sony's not a virgin at this kind
That's
of
true.
stuff.
That's
So,
true.
and I'm sure they have a couple other things that I can't think of off the top of my head. Sony's a really, really big company.
They are.
It's like it's almost daunting, like the little cornerstone that we focus so severely on, and how big it is in just the PlayStation universe. That's like the toe of Sony. You know what I mean? Sony is.
It's a very expensive toe, though. I think.
But it's a very profitable toe.
Yes,
But in general, I mean, Sony's got its hands in everything electronic.
it's true.
So I mean, there's an awful lot to that company.
There is, but Microsoft first and foremost, like Brian was saying,
They're a services
network
company these
services.
days.
Yeah. So I mean, they at least have the. Sony is great with electronics and technology, but I think Microsoft, like you were saying, is a little bit more geared towards service and connectivity at this point.
Yeah,
So they've
it's-
got a leg up in that.
They do.
See, I don't know. I think this is totally off subject. I think if you took Microsoft in its state right now, and you took Sony in its state right now, and you took away the video gaming divisions, they both shut their doors tomorrow. Throw them out.
Mark's hanging on to one.
Who would honestly have the upper hand? I know people would think Microsoft, but Microsoft, in my opinion and a lot of people's opinions, has done nothing but make gigantic missteps and
That's true.
steered people away from utilizing their stuff with the Surface tablet, the Windows Phone, Zune, their fucking video whatever bullshit, Windows 8. They've made misstep after misstep with all their cornerstones, and unfortunately for them, and Sony has this problem too, but unfortunately for them, it's not a monopoly of Microsoft owned anymore. There are rising competitors. Apple used to have like a 1 or 2% home computer
Market share.
share. Now they're up to 15%. In the last like 5 years, Microsoft lost 14% just to Apple. And Google is on the verge of releasing a full-on, blown-out operating system.
Oh, they're there. Here's the thing: Google is eating Microsoft and Apple's lunches.
Yeah.
In the schools system, schools are buying cartloads full of Chromebooks, which are $250 a piece, and they run their own version of Office. So Microsoft is standing to lose that, and Apple is, some schools are doing like 1-to-1 with the iPad, but that's very expensive. So only the more wealthy school districts and fortunate school districts
The
are doing that.
the more cost effective, more disposable option would be the Chromebook.
Yes, absolutely.
Android in general, because Android...
Well, it's not even Android.
No, yeah. I'm saying I think Android is on the verge of releasing an operating system, like a full-on, blown-out
Well,
one.
it is. I mean, it's hard to say.
For a computer.
Well, that's what the Chromebook is. It's not
I
Android.
thought that was
It's
Google.
just the Chrome. It is Google, and Android is Google.
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. Okay, I'll get a little...
It's confusing. The way they run it is kind of weird.
Motorola too, just so you know.
The next Motorola phone will be all Google. The Chromebooks just run the Chrome browser, and nothing else. which also runs on Android, and it ties in with all the Google services that are on Android. So the Google Music, the Google Docs, Google Play videos and music, that all runs
Google
on Chromebook
Porn.
as well.
Pornhub.
YouPorn. So that stuff is tied in with the Google stuff, and schools are definitely looking at Chromebooks seriously. So Microsoft and Apple are losing there. Microsoft still has a stranglehold on the business side of things.
Oh yeah, with Excel and Word
Office, and still supporting older infrastructure like banks, some government stuff, integrated systems like a lot of cash machines and stuff like that use a custom version of Windows. So
I know
they
a
have that.
lot of people are stuck in their ways. They don't upgrade every time Microsoft releases a new issue.
Right.
My sister works for Sears, not as like a retail cashier. She works at Sears corporate headquarters out in Hoffman Estates. They still use Excel
Oh yeah.
as a company. Sears and Roebuck uses Excel. It's like, are you kidding? It's like 3 fucking generations ago. But that's what they utilize because it runs really well, I guess, with what's that program where you like design stuff? AutoCAD?
Could be.
That could be CAD. That's one.
Yeah.
And I
Excel
guess
would work in CAD. Yeah.
I guess that's what because they're more concerned with the way that the store is laid out from overhead with designing where everything's going to sit and
you
stuff.
would use Excel in conjunction with AutoCAD for that.
So that's why they've never felt the need to upgrade because they don't need to, at least at her position.
Right.
And this is company wide.
But what they usually do with these companies is they buy like an annual license. They may not upgrade the software, but they're still paying for a site license for X amount of time.
So that's exactly what I'm saying.
yeah.
They have no need to transition elsewhere because what they have is
Right.
what they have, and that's what they need.
Right.
So
Or they're afraid of transition. Banks are worried that if they change things up and something fails, they could cost them millions.
So aside from that, that's what I was getting at with Microsoft. Sony, I think, is a different animal entirely. They, I think, would be fine. They make missteps too. They basically had the iPod out before Apple, and
Oh yeah, they dropped the ball.
yeah, they could have been the iTunes person. They were two steps away from making
Yeah,
the
I mean they
iPod.
had their own music industry, or not music industry, but their own record label to begin with. They could have taken their record label. Same thing with video. They could have competed with iTunes on video or audio, and gotten out their years in
Sony
advance.
invents a lot of stuff, and people capitalize on their innovation and come out with it just a smidge better after 6 months of looking into it. Sony, I mean, they've had plenty of missteps throughout the years because they like to have their shit. I'm blanking again. What's it called when something only works on your device? Proprietary. They love proprietary anything. If
Fucking memory cards.
You can go,
Yeah.
Oh,
you,
the fucking Vita memory card.
you can
Don't
go.
get me
You
started.
can go back as far as Betamax.
Yes.
And then they lost that to VHS, who was just Betamax is really good compared to VHS. It's-
UMDs.
yeah. And then there's
Was their first hit Blu-ray? Is that the only one that they've won?
because then DVD they lost to Philips, right? Philips makes DVDs.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
Or
consortium.
Toshiba?
I think it's a consortium for those. I mean, it's a group of companies.
But I believe
There's no one
Sony actually
company.
supported laser discs at the time over
that could
that.
be. That
And
could be.
then they had, of course, the Blu-ray, which is actually taking off for them.
There's the Rest in Peace mini disc. I used to have a mini disc player and loved it.
That's what I was
Mini disc,
talking
you
about.
would- yeah.
That they were a couple
GameCube.
steps away from the iPod. Then, of course, they got screwed by Nintendo with trying to bring the disc to
Yes.
the video game
I
realm.
wouldn't say that they got screwed. They
They came out on
they
top.
walked out smelling like fucking roses
they
on
came
that.
out on top in the end, but when it first occurred, they were getting screwed by
yeah.
Nintendo.
They got
yeah.
fucked.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
I'm just
they-
saying,
yeah.
you know.
Nintendo didn't give them a heads up or anything. They showed up at E3 all smiles, like, "Hey, we're gonna go in this with our Japanese buddies, Nintendo." And then Nintendo's just like, "We're gonna drop you for them on the first day of E3."
Yeah, for Philips. And then
Sony
they
came
went
out
with
way
Philips.
ahead.
Yeah,
The PS1
yeah,
and the PS2 are two of the top 3 or 4 selling consoles of all time.
Yeah,
And the PS3 didn't do too bad itself.
right. But when that first happened, Nintendo. Did.
Oh, that was a big dick move.
Yeah, that was a huge dick move. Absolutely.
So,
Douchebags.
yeah, fucking dude.
Wait,
Pots.
you're telling me that Nintendo does things that aren't popular with people? I
No,
don't
that's
believe it.
recently. That's very recently.
I think that started with the 64. I think that was the first time that Nintendo started pissing people off.
Oh.
Oh. No.
Well, I would say somewhere in the Super Nintendo.
I would even dispute that. Nintendo would not put your game out unless you went through Nintendo's licensing process.
No,
on the NES.
that was a good thing on the NES because
it was in that it kept the market from going crazy like with the
Sure.
Atari.
what it
To
did,
that extent,
was it was a safety net for consumers because they got burned through the Atari 2600 from all the shovelware. And Nintendo said we're going to scan every game. That's why you can buy our product with the Nintendo seal on it.
I get that.
We're gonna product check everything for you.
They
I
did have their
also
own
think-
seal they used to put on it too.
That's what
Yeah.
what the whole point was. It
Yeah.
was to say, don't worry, you're not going to spend $60 on shovelware like you had to on Atari. We're going to check every game for you.
But of course, every cartridge that you sold, a percentage of that went to Nintendo for that seal.
Oh, it was a ton.
Yeah.
It was. A
Yeah.
ton. That's when they started burning people because everybody was switching. That's why I think it really kicked off during the 64 era. Everybody was moving over to discs, and Nintendo's like, no. If you want to put your game on the Nintendo console, you have to buy our literally $45 cartridge. I think it was blank.
Yeah.
That'll work on the N64. Then you do everything. You put it on the disc. You get your label. You package it and all that stuff, and sell for $60, leaving people minuscule profitability. So that's where they lost third-party support. Everybody's like, "Fuck you, we're going to Sony." Sony was at like $1 to buy a blank DVD at the time, leaving you way more money to be
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take you
And
45
even
of them
they
just to
went to
catch up.
Sega before that. In fact, EA, the reason you saw so many EA games on the Genesis was because EA reverse engineered Sega stuff and said, look, we reverse engineered your stuff. We'll still license you, but you're not going to make our cartridges. We'll just pay you a license fee.
Yeah, and that's why a different shape.
That's right. So Nintendo would never do that. Other companies would reverse engineer Nintendo stuff and they're like, we're not licensing your stuff. So yeah, no, Nintendo
The
pissed people off
fucking
then.
with the gauntlet.
Yeah, the black cartridges from
Yep.
Tengen. Yeah. So that went on for a while.
Yeah.
But that wasn't as big of a deal as later things.
No, but if
But when
that
Sony
took
came
place
in and-
now, to that regard, it would be a huge deal.
There was
Yeah,
no
they-
internet and stuff back then.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You know,
nobody
I found out about it like 10 years later. Not 10 years, but you know what I mean. Like,
as a kid,
Right.
I was always like, "Why is this one different?
yeah,
It's no better."
you didn't understand what
No.
was going on.
I just thought it was cooler. Like the red ones.
No, it never fit with all my other ones.
Oh yeah, when you're stacking them.
Yeah.
And the labels on them are retarded.
Oh, they were
Because
terrible.
when you're not with a cartridge, the N64, the labels are always like this. There's no like the NES cartridges
Yes.
are the absolute best games to stack without casing
Yes.
Yeah, because of the side.
Super Nintendo weren't bad either.
because they go top way and you can read the label this way. They can go sideways where you can read the label that way, or you can face them all if you don't have enough, and there's a label
Yeah.
right there as well.
Yep.
Yeah, Super Nintendo had that, although they were harder to stack because they weren't as symmetrical.
They were weird shaped.
Yeah, they were weird shapes. But then N64, yeah,
Like Genesis, they only went up. You couldn't go this way. You had a
unless you had a whole row that you could fit in perfectly, then you could do it. But yeah,
else they tip over. That's what I'm saying. The
They'll
NES
tip
was
over.
the absolute best.
yes,
And everything since then's discs.
Can we go back to that?
What?
Just have a disc inside that case.
Cartridge?
Yeah.
Slide in the cartridge.
Yeah.
I like.
That's kind of what the UMD was.
Except garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think the PSP looks better than the 3DS, but
What graphically?
that's sad.
Maybe,
Yeah, it's probably
maybe.
close. I'd say it's close.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm trying to think.
The cutscenes on 3DSs though can be a lot better though. You just have to find the right.
There's a
game.
lot more memory. There's more memory on a 3DS cartridge than on a UMD. So you can actually store more video on a 3DS cartridge than a UMD. But that's a whole other discussion. Anyway, we're totally off topic.
It's all right. It's a conversational podcast. We go in all different directions.
Yeah.
I don't remember what led us here.
I
know.
like lettuce.
Something about
I don't like lettuce on my burgers.
Really?
I'm not a fan of lettuce. I
I
love
go for
lettuce
it.
in like a salad.
But it's gotta be leaf lettuce. I don't like when they shred the lettuce. And, forget
Yeah,
it. It's a
leaf
waste.
lettuce.
fuck
Oh, yeah.
lettuce. No, lettuce is pretty cool.
Eh.
Me and lettuce go way back.
Next bullet point, if you have one.
This has been episode 77.
I didn't make any. I just thought this would be a free flowing. I didn't do bullet points. Tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
It's been working out well
yeah,
so far.
yeah, until I killed it.
Blame lettuce.
What were we talking about that led us to that? That's
Whores in gaming.
precisely. Nobody remembers.
Well,
that.
we're talking about RAM and
That
memory.
Laura Croft is a slut.
It
Don't
mirrors
rag
that
on Laura,
girl.
man.
Oh, so Sony
Slut was his segue.
likes proprietary
They do. You're
stuff.
right. They do.
So that leads. So I just I think Sony has a lot more legs to stand on. Just Sony merging with Columbia, releasing movies would keep Sony afloat, and there's not as much pressure coming because Sony Columbia is big.
They make one of my favorite TV shows. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that Sony, if both companies drop their video game division, 10 years ago, I would have said hands down Microsoft when they still had a stranglehold on absolute everything, and they didn't make the mistakes that are the Zune and the Kinect and the Kinect Point 2.0 and fucking.
You can't count that yet.
It's a mistake. And Microsoft Surface.
Well, the interesting thing about the Surface is that the Surface Pro is actually doing okay because there's two versions of the Surface.
They had to drop the price by like 60%.
No, only the Surface RT. That's the thing that there's two versions of the Surface, which is stupid. There's the RT and the Pro. And the RT is a custom OS that only runs RT software.
Yeah,
the Pro
you
is a
can't
full
get apps.
computer. People are loving the Pro. It's basically a tablet, but it's a fully powered computer.
I don't know if I want
It
to
just-
bother with those 4 apps.
No, the Pro runs everything.
The Pro is like a laptop.
It's Windows. It runs
tablet.
full Windows.
You can like
You can
there-
put Steam on the
there's,
Pro.
There's
Steam
videos of
games.
people playing SimCity and Borderlands 2 on the
On the
Surface
Pro.
Pro.
Yes.
Yeah.
How
the
much is
Pro-
this fucking thing, though?
$1,000.
Yeah.
It's more expensive, but it is it's not super powerful. You can't run like games on maximum, but you can run Mass Effect 3 on minimum quality settings, and it's pretty playable. So it's powerful enough for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's 5 frames per
It's-
second.
No,
They-
it's like 24, 25. I
It's
was
the
watching a
fact
video
that
about
they
it.
made a stupid new operating system for their tablets,
Because they wanted to compete with the iPad.
and they have their own app store, and nobody wants to go onto that app store, so there's not enough
I don't
stuff.
understand why they're so obsessed with trying to mimic Apple as of late. I
Because-
understand Microsoft or Apple's bringing in a ton of money, but people that want that stuff will just go buy Apple products. They're not going to be fooled. I like Windows because it's Windows, not because it's a fucking Apple store painted with the fucking Windows emblem on top of it. I want Windows.
Well, I think the issue is that there's a lot of hardware quality problems with Microsoft, not Microsoft stuff, but with the third parties. When you look at because the difference between Apple and or the difference in terms of cost of building an Apple computer and building a PC computer are not super different. They are more expensive because Apple uses nicer parts, and Microsoft wanted to try to get people into doing that again because the PC has become so commoditized. People don't think about it in the same way that people think about the Apple stuff. Apple charges a premium, and it gets them a really good reputation in terms of the quality stuff. And Microsoft wants that same reputation with their operating system, which it kind of has been losing over the last few
Yeah,
years.
liquid metal.
That's why they did that. Well, and if you look, the design, the build quality of the Surfaces is really nice. If you go to a Best Buy,
They're
and
pretty.
pick one up, they're very nice. I wouldn't buy an RT. I considered buying a Pro instead of my current laptop, which is a MacBook.
It's just
So-
for me, I don't know. I'm like, if it wasn't for the Xbox, I used to love everything Microsoft did. And I'm like, if Android builds a full-on Linux-type operating system
Asus Transformer.
becomes the fourth dark horse, and it's because Android always, I've been with Team Android from the beginning. They started off poorly.
Yeah,
It
I had the
took-
G1.
It took them a while, and now they are outstanding in every way, shape, and form. I love fucking Android. So I'd expect the exact same thing to happen if they came into the home computer market, where it'd be a very slow start, stuff would be buggy, but I'd jump in just to get the fuck away from Windows. Because I don't want to give them my money, because I want them to understand that they're making mistakes with all this shit. And start off and let Android adapt and just completely exonerate myself from Windows outside of Xbox. And if Xbox ceased to exist, I wouldn't purchase a Windows product ever again.
Should we make Tony use Linux?
Oh,
I'm on Linux.
Are you?
Yeah.
Certain versions of Linux, though, I have so many problems
You
with.
don't like Ubuntu?
I'm on Ubuntu or
Ubuntu?
Yeah, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
I have Linux and Windows.
Okay.
Windows is on my nice gaming PC. My laptop's Linux.
Okay.
The one that the speakers don't work.
Well, that's the challenge with Linux is getting the hardware support.
I just,
Not
No, the
like
speaker's
that.
broke because I dropped
Oh, the
it
speaker's actually
many,
broken?
many a
Okay.
times. I need a new laptop.
I just have trouble
You know
with
what's
finding
holding
a
me
good
back?
one.
Not the money, but the quality of the laptops you see, or
No, Windows 8. I don't want it.
No, I don't want it either.
Fair
I
enough.
wish I would have bit 6 months ago where all the Windows 7 stuff was discounted
Yeah.
for the 1 month transition period when they still had Windows 7 shit in stock. and they were just getting the
You
Windows 8
might be able
stuff.
to get them to put Windows 7 on, but you have to pay extra for it.
Fuck that.
That's a pain in the ass. I know. I mean, 8.1 will fix some of those issues because you can choose to start at the desktop rather than go, or you can put an add-on onto Windows 8 that will start you on the desktop. I've been using Windows 8 because Windows 8 was cheaper than Windows 7 for a while because it was like a $40 upgrade. So I actually I had Windows XP, and so I was going to jump up to Windows 8, but XP would not install on my laptop. So I actually went and got I downloaded Windows 7 but didn't register it, and then just bought Windows 8 for $40. It's functional. It does work, but there is weirdness to it.
I just don't understand why they mess with it. They finally figured it out. I've been using Windows my whole life, and they've had many ups and downs. Windows 7 was nearly perfect.
As good as XP was.
It's because they wanted to
It
integrate.
was good. It was a great interface. Everything, like, I know where everything is. Everything worked. Everything made sense.
And what they should have done,
Messing with the figure.
what they should have done is left that alone, and just added the Windows thing, the Windows 8 thing, the tile interface as an option,
Yeah.
or make it a default.
And
but
call
ask
it
you at the
Windows
beginning.
7.5. Why did that have to be a fucking, I don't know.
Well, that's just marketing stuff when they give them names like that. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a full step up. But I mean, Windows 8 gets a lot of hate. I'm not saying that it's better than 7 because 7 seems to be what everybody wants. But anything that you can do in 7, you can pretty much do in 8. It's just you have that extra layer that you have to get rid of first.
Yeah, I hate
From
that.
our resident
Yeah.
Microsoft
I don't need
fanboy
anything
in a
standing in
while.
my way.
Who?
You. What do you think about all this?
Microsoft fanboy?
For the Xbox.
It's for the Xbox, right?
What are we talking about?
I'm just trying to get you involved in the show today, good sir.
No, I'm not. Realistically, I'm not a big specs guy. I understand it, but I don't really care as long as my shit works.
Yeah.
So I chime in when we're talking about other stuff.
What do
You,
you think, sir?
might want to check out, Tony, is the Linux phone that's coming out. The
Linux
Ubuntu
phone.
phone. What's it called?
I don't.
Have you seen that?
I don't like Linux though. It's
I don't
like
like Linux either.
No.
Linux is like a sloppy, beaten up version of Windows. They
Yeah.
pretty much cloned all of Windows, and nothing works as
Quite
well as Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's free, and everything on there is free, and you
I
know.
hate installing stuff to Macs. I hate installing stuff to Linux.
How
It's
is
so
it to Macs?
similar
How's it so
sometimes.
hard?
Well, like where you have to drag into the application shit and then go into that. I just don't understand why I have to do any of that.
For what?
We have to go
As
into
opposed
like
to double clicking
instead of just double
and
clicking.
installing,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
going through 10 menus instead of just drag and drop.
yeah.
You'd rather go through 10 menus than drag and drop.
I'm just used to it.
I
Just,
mean,
you know,
there's
accept,
stuff that does
yes,
that.
done.
There's stuff that does that, and you can. In fact, it comes with a program called Package Maker where
It's just I don't understand. It's just
it's supposed to be simpler. That's the idea, is that it makes it simpler.
yeah.
You can distribute your application either way. You can distribute it where it has that installer.
Yeah.
But most people choose not to do that.
And my problem with Linux is finding because like there's so many different versions
oh yeah,
of
Linux
Linux,
is a
and
hassle. Yeah.
it's if I could find one that is just like a clone and it runs better or something, maybe. But I'm very happy with 7. Vista was garbage once I
Oh,
finally
yeah.
left it. I was like, oh, I'm running on less memory and it runs better.
Yeah,
Okay.
Vista was a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck all that shit.
I think that Microsoft is making an attempt at fixing these problems. You know, they've been restructuring. They're trying to get their teams in order. The whole reason that they made Windows 8 the way they did, and I'm not saying that it was the right decision, but they wanted to try to get everything integrated. So they wanted to have their tablet operating system and their desktop operating system and the Xbox stuff all looking the same. So there's some kind of level of cohesion between them. Whether they're accomplishing
that's
yeah.
ultimately what I want. I like the way that technology as a whole is moving forward with like stuff like iTunes and shit, where it's permanent. You buy a new piece of equipment, you tap into your old piece of equipment with a password and email address or whatever, and you automatically bring everything over. I love and I want a single unified thing, and I can't stand Apple, sorry, but
Okay.
Android's the next closest thing, and they're a few steps away from completely being exactly what I wanted. I like
you seen
Google, and if they make a
I'm gonna kill this dog. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. He's just being annoying. He's being a puppy.
all they're missing, especially with the way that everything's going with tablets and cell phones and mobile anyway, that's all they need left, I think, and they will completely replace Microsoft for me.
Have you seen the Asus Transformer
Yeah.
tablets? You don't care for those either? No? Okay. Because they have the full desktop experience, basically.
Yeah, no, if I had ever gotten a tablet like right off the bat, I would have gotten the Transformer. And basically, if I ever get a laptop, it's totally going to be. Is it called Ultrabook? Ultrabook
Yes.
is the one where it's a tablet and it's also a laptop.
Yeah, well, the
that is-
Ultrabooks are the ultra slim ones that can be used as tablets, yeah.
Yeah, that is the only laptop I would ever get, basically. But they're not powerful enough at this point because they still want to run tablet stuff instead of.
Well, and they all have integrated graphics instead of discrete
Exactly.
graphics,
Like
yeah.
I want a laptop experience with the option to have a reasonable tablet experience of just web browsing with my hand.
Fuck you, Tony.
For what?
Fucking resident Microsoft fanboy.
Aren't you though?
No.
He just loves the Xbox. Totally different.
I mean,
totally different department.
the only thing that I have that currently runs anything Microsoft is my Xbox.
What about Android being a console? How do you feel about that?
Could care less.
No, I'm talking to Tony.
Oh, you looked at me though.
I was looking at both of you. You guys are both right there.
I don't think Apple or Android would make a good console.
No.
No?
No.
Simply for the fact that it would turn into a casual device. That's why I don't think stuff like the Ouya or the what's that one that's a USB stick
There's
and a
that Game
controller,
Stick?
Game
Game
Stick.
Stick.
Yeah.
Or if Apple ever made one, it'd just be a glorified way to play Angry Birds on your television. I don't think that the major publishers like EA and Activision are going to come over and start porting COD and
They do.
Battlefield.
Well, they do make games for the, and they have
No,
done.
but
They haven't been.
they're little bullshit games.
No,
though.
not always. I mean, they're not as good as console games. I'll
Exactly.
grant you, but they have controller support on Android, and iOS 7 will have controller support. I mean, you look at like Mass Effect Infiltrator. It's near console level. Square Enix has been porting this stuff, but it's mostly been their RPGs, so they're simpler anyway. But with good controller support, you can do a full-on game on these.
I mean, Sony's been trying to accomplish this forever, but the problem with Sony, I think it's too big for its own good. With their electronics department, they've been trying to do this before anyone else,
Yeah.
even Apple. They were the first ones. They had like Bravia Sync and stuff.
Yes.
Where their televisions, because every division in Sony is almost like an independent company. Like the television department does not communicate with like the Blu-ray department, does not communicate with the Sony Columbia Hollywood aspect, does not communicate with Sony Music.
Right.
They just don't talk well to each other.
Well, you know the dark secret of Bravia Sync, don't you?
What's that?
Same as Viera. All those sync things are actually using standard HDMI commands. So even though they advertise Bravia Sync and like, it works with all Bravia Sync products.
This is before Bravia Sync even. I just
Okay.
can't think of what it's called. It was before HDMI, where everything talked to each other.
Right. Okay.
That was close, but it was so because I own all Sony electronics. I really. What happened?
Oh,
Did it break?
I don't know.
Why are you breaking stuff?
Oh, it
Really
is.
good.
Did you
Okay.
swipe it weird?
I might have.
Quit swiping stuff weird.
Boring.
We're like DVD players. We're trying to talk to
That guy.
tube TVs and switching seats.
What's up, Jason? Line change.
Line change.
with all the smoke.
Yeah.
Look at this crap.
Anyway, it didn't work really well, and
Yeah.
still to this day, I have a Sony Blu-ray player now. I've upgraded all my Sony stuff, brand new HD TV, the PS3. The stuff still does not talk well to each other.
You're right. This stuff does not work well in general. The whole like inter-device communication.
That's why he doesn't sit there.
Should we play Gay Chicken? Is that a...
It's only fun for the people watching. The people listening don't know what's going on.
They never do. This ain't
Staring-
nothing new.
Staring.
Yeah, this is how it's
longingly
been
at
for-
the
Awkward pauses of silence and
This
then
is-
like a random comment. So.
This is how it's been for 77 episodes. This is what we do.
Hey, I can hear my voice now.
You guys just get a clue into what the hell's been going on. I think we should switch the title of this to just operating systems in general because we've dabbled everywhere now.
It's true. We have.
As opposed to the Xbox One versus the PS4 utilizing so much goddamn memory. Think it's a good spot to wrap her up?
Yep.
All right. Final thoughts, guys.
Penis.
Indeed.
My final thought would be that hopefully these guys will get their asses in gear and find a way to optimize this memory usage a bit because it seems kind of crazy.
More stuff?
Well, looking at what they did with PS3, I think they're almost, on par with what they were with for
For the PS3 versus to the PS4, yeah.
Because, it
Yeah.
was like almost half, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's basically the exact
Yeah.
same as it was if you think about it. So, while yes, it'd be nice to have more for games because no one really cares about the operating system.
No.
Like, as
It's
long
just
as
how
it
you get
runs
to your game.
well,
Uh-huh.
just give it more to the actual games, and I think everyone would just be happier with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Get
think that
inspired. Edit this and go home.
I think that it'll be interesting to see, but I'm not overly concerned about it. The fact of the matter is, even if the memory usage is almost 40% or so is going to the OS, like I was saying earlier, I'm not so hot with math, but you're getting 15 times the power, roughly. These things are going to be substantially more powerful than what we're utilizing right now.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's the whole point. That's all I want out of my new consoles is more power and better graphics.
Jason's got his mouse over your face. That's what he's doing.
Is that going to show up?
No.
No, it's yeah.
If I-
no
if
one
I-
has no
if I-
idea because
If I turned
no
on the
one can see
screen
it.
thing, it would.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Record off for recording.
the fact of the matter is we're getting way better consoles coming up. They're going to be way more powerful. It's going to take them a few years to figure them out to maximize everything. So I'm happy. I just want better graphics and, better looking games, more power. I don't care about any of this other shit.
All I would like is true 1080p at 60 frames a second. The games could look the same. They just have to be smoother and sharper.
That's what I think you're going to get. I don't think you're going to see a huge visual jump up. I think you're going to have better backgrounds and smarter AI because you have
All that extra
more
memory.
power to apply to them.
Smoother objects.
I'll
You're
smooth your
You're
object.
getting a lot more facings on everything, so everything should look more realistic.
I'll smooth your face object.
Like, best thing is compare the best PS3 games and the best PC games right now with like faces and hard objects and all that stuff, and you'll see a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
And
Hard
see where it can
faces.
go.
The
Hard
Last of
faces.
Us looks surprisingly good.
Definitely.
Yeah. Surprisingly
A
good.
lot of the games just got so good, it's just ridiculous that they're going to get any better at this point.
Yeah, we'll see.
Last of Us is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
All right, this has been episode 77, part 2. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch us next week, same time, same place.
Go kill Jason.